Alrighty, so here we are for 2024 summer session. I'm here at our curriculum map. I'm going to click on day one. It's going to scroll me down to lesson plan and slide decks. I already have the slide deck open, but just in case you're wondering, you can open it here. I'm also going to open the lesson plan. Just do a quick little toggle here. So in the lesson plan, I just wanted to note kind of what our objectives are for today's lesson. We want to learn students' names. We want students to learn each other's names. We want to help them understand why we're in CY1, what are some of its expectations. We're going to practice active listening because that's a skill they're going to use throughout their high school career and beyond. And then also we want to teach them how to log on to their Loyola accounts. You're going to notice that we have our vocabulary terms here. Here's an outline. This first page for all of the lesson plans really briefly goes over kind of the brass tacks, the most important things. If I were to say before I get into the lesson, you really should focus on the name picnic, the first round of dyads, excuse me for my dog, and the login and homework explained. If you can spend the most time on those things, the other things we really don't need to spend forever on. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I would love when you're presenting the slideshow, put it into slideshow mode. Sometimes when we present it like this, it's not as interactive, and you're going to notice that there are some animated slides. So as students are coming in, I recommend that you already have seating arranged for them. So I said in the lesson plan, have name tents. Those are kind of those trifolds with their names already written. That's up to you. You could have a seating chart displayed. The reason why I kind of prefer you not having a seating chart displayed is because I'd love for them to get in, find their seat, find their planner, which should be already on their desk with a pen, their password and their t-shirt, and have them open it to page 24 and begin reflecting on this quote by Will Durant. As soon as the bell rings, just say, hey, my name is, insert here, tell them a little bit about what you do at Loyola, and say, we do this thing called a bell ringer, and as the bell rings, you're expected to work on the to-dos. So without further ado, I'm going to give you 3 minutes. I'd love for you to reflect on this quote right here. I'm going to give you 3 minutes to do so. I'm going to start this timer. And as I'm doing that, I'm going to take attendance. So kind of doing two things at once to move this part along. Once that happens, we're going to go to slide 2. We'll say, Loyola High School is a Jesuit school. And also a Catholic one at that. And so we're going to pray the Sushi Pay. The Sushi Pay is prayed on Mondays at Loyola. So one thing we're going to do before we get started is we have this kind of call and response. I'm going to say St. Ignatius of Loyola, and your response is going to be pray for us. So we're going to practice that. So St. Ignatius of Loyola, pray for us. St. Ignatius of Loyola, pray for us, and do it a couple times. Great. One thing about the Sushi Pay and why it's introduced in your CY1 is that you need to memorize it for your first year of theology. So we're going to do this during the first 2 weeks of CY1 called the Sushi Pay. Let's go ahead and do that. Name the Father, Son, and then you'll pray it. St. Ignatius of Loyola, pray for us. Excellent. So you're in this thing called CY1. Does anyone know what CY1 stands for? You got it. It's Cub Year 1. Anyone know what the subtitle is? First year foundations. So essentially, what is CY1? CY1 is an opportunity to support you in your first year at Loyola. Notice I'm going really quickly through these slides. We have Cub Year 1 because it's important to understand your story, who you are and who you are becoming, Loyola's story, becoming familiar with our school's rich history and traditions, and also helping you to author and co-author, in this case, your Loyola story. So finding your place here and co-authoring the future that is Loyola High School. So really exciting stuff. Notice that I'm kind of reading and I'm going really quickly through the why. Some of the reasons why you're here: we're preparing you for Loyola High School. We're going to help you ease your transition from middle to high school. Practice some hard and soft skills. Hard being sort of like study skills, taking notes, and soft skills more like self-advocacy. Care for you holistically. We have this thing called Cura Personalis. You're going to hear that a lot on this campus. And it's this idea of caring for the whole self. So not only your intellect, but also just how you are. CY1 is about first impressions. Are you leaving a best first impression on me and on your fellow Cubs? Keeping you in the loop. So CY1 does a lot with the calendar and what's happening, and also just meeting people and providing you a network of support, not only your own classmates, your TA here, me, but also anybody else that's at Loyola. And this course was created via data from adults and Frosh alike. And it was created for you and for the adult community. This is actually to help you be prepared for your freshman year. Your teachers that are for freshmen, they're gonna expect that you have a baseline knowledge of Canvas, our learning management system, of how to write an email appropriately. So we're also gonna give you particular skills that will be useful for you. All right, here's our agenda today. We're gonna go over the norms and the grad at grad. We'll do a quick-ish icebreaker. We'll get into dyads and quads, excuse me, expectations and homework explained. Again, I'm rolling really quickly through these. I would have a student volunteer. First, I'd say, hey, what do you think norms are? Now, looking at these, let's have someone read those aloud. So be present when it's their whole self. So have that student read all of them. Given what you see here, what do you think a norm is? Yeah, it's a way of being, it's a way of proceeding. And so when we are in a classroom setting, these are the things that are always expected of you in any space of Loyola, not just a classroom, but on the field, in the play, for a rehearsal, whatever you determine to do here at Loyola. Have them write down their norm and their planners, the one that they're going to commit to today. Then talk about the fact that today's theme is open to growth. And does anybody know what open to growth, why that matters in your Cub Year 1? Maybe ask that question. If you're not getting any answers, totally fine. They're new. So I'd say open to growth is actually really important to Loyola because it's one of our grad at grad values. That's what we expect a graduate to be at graduation. It's a characteristic that we hope for our students. And those characteristics, or 6 of them, are open to growth, intellectually distinguished, religious, loving, committed to justice, developing as a leader. These are 6 of the characteristics that are sort of our learning outcomes, what we hope you to become. Now, you'll notice on our website, the grad at grad is here for you. We have all 6 written, and we have a specific description of open to growth. Notice I click the next slide. Can someone read for me what it means to be open to growth at Loyola High School? Lovely, they read it. Perfect. Your Cub Year 1 is oriented around 3 of these 6 characteristics, and this week we're focusing on open to growth. So with that idea in mind of being somebody that is accepting responsibility for their intellect, their spirit, their emotions, their physical nature, their social and their personal growth, one of the most important things we can do in the first day is learn each other's names. Yes, in fact, we're going to go on a name picnic. So you'll notice in the lesson plan that you could also do adjectives. So I could do, for example, kinetic Caitlin versus kimchi Caitlin. So remember, when you're doing the activity, you'll say, hey, can I have a random volunteer? Raise your hand. Perfect. You're going to go first. Can I have another volunteer? Excellent. You're going to go last, and have the circle orient around them. Or if you just have your first person, whoever's on the other side of them, they're going to go last. And so here's how the activity goes. You are going to bring an item to our picnic, right? Our metaphorical picnic. And it needs to start with the first letter of your first name. My first name is Caitlin with a K. So I could bring kale, I could bring kiwi, I could bring kimchi, right? So I'm going to say, hi class, my name is Caitlin and I'm bringing kimchi. Then the next person, let's say his name is Dale. Dale's going to introduce himself. Hi, I'm Dale and I'm bringing dip. And then he's going to say my name. This is Caitlin and she's bringing kimchi. Let's pretend that next to Dale, we have Armani. Armani says, Armani, hi, my name's Armani. I'm bringing the apple. This is Dale. He's bringing dip. This is Caitlin. She's bringing kimchi, and so on and so forth. So yeah, that last volunteer is going to feel a certain type of way, but reassure them and say, listen carefully. I know you're last, but I'll make myself go last. I have to do this activity too. If you have students in the class that feel a certain type of way that they're getting nervous, tell them, well, why don't you open up your planner to the notes section, that's page 36 to start, and take notes. There's nothing wrong with taking notes. It's actually what's encouraged here at Loyola, especially if you're not great with memorization. So let's go ahead and get into the activity. Quick little side note, this activity might take a long time with your classes of 24 and 25. If you have to take a break, shake it out, whatever you got to do, or it can go really quickly. I mean, if you have a class that's really with it and they're wanting to do and engage, I love that. Excellent. So once that happens, we're gonna say, okay, let's go ahead and get into dyad time. Does anybody know what a dyad might be? Yeah, if you look at this GIF right here, it's a pair, it's a group of two. So we're gonna get ourselves into a group of two accordingly. So again, side note, as a teacher, you've got lots of ways of grouping. One of my favorite things I've seen in CY1 is when you have them group up by last name alphabetically and then by first name alphabetically. This really works well to kind of get them to know each other even more. It's kind of a build off of the name picnic. And then just have whoever they're directly next to be in their dyad. In the event that you have an odd number of students, then you're just gonna go ahead and have a little trio. So here's what we're gonna do in our dyad. So go ahead and sit with your dyad. That might mean that you move your stuff and you sit next to them. Lovely, lovely, get them all situated. Before we begin our activity, I want us to think about what is active listening. And have them, active listening has to do with your posture, has to do with eye contact, you're leaning in, sometimes you're paraphrasing or you're nodding your head. That's what active listening is. It's funny when you mention it to them, you're going to notice they're going to sit up, they're going to lean towards you and even name that. Now I can tell you're listening actively to me. Now, how's that different from silent listening? And maybe someone will say, well, you're not interrupting the person. Excellent. What might that look like over Zoom? And that might be like keeping your camera on, like staying muted, raising your hand to wait to be called on. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, you all seem to really understand active listening. So today's dyad exercise is a focus on active listening. The first thing that's going to happen is partner A, and let's say partner A has the shortest hair. So in your dyad, go ahead and figure out who has the shortest hair. Your partner A, the other is partner B. Partner A, I want you to introduce yourself to that partner, and I want you to tell your life story in a minute and a half. I know, crazy lady that I am, I'm asking you to tell your life story in only a minute and 30 seconds. You might feel like it's a long time, but it's going to go by really quickly, and so no worries. Partner B, you are going to listen actively to what your partner has to share. And let me say this very explicitly, you will need to remember and you will need this information later. So partner A, you're telling the story. Partner B, you're practicing that active listening that we just talked about. Let's go ahead and give it a minute and a half. Start the timer. I might take off the sound if it's distracting. Actually, when I do that, you can't hear me, but I might take off the sound if it's distracting. Okay, great, excellent. Now let's go ahead and switch roles. Once the minute and a half happens, partner B, you're now telling the story. Partner A, you're listening actively and you're remembering that information. Restart the timer. Great, excellent, wonderful, lovely. Okay, my dyads. I want a dyad to find another dyad. I want to make a quad. So 2 + 2 = 4. You got it. So go ahead, pair up, pair up, pair up. Now, unfortunately, folks, this doesn't always work organically in some of our classes. Like I think classes of 18, this gets a little wonky. But if you have a group of 6, you have a group of 6 and you have that group of 6 talk for 30 seconds as opposed to 45 or a group of 5. So here's what's going to happen. Each dyad will pair up. Yep, quad. Then you're going to go ahead and you're going to time your partner. And this is the fun part. So let's pretend Dale and I were grouped up. Dale is going to pretend to be me and he's going to tell my story. And I'm going to pretend to be Dale and tell Dale's story from his perspective. So I'm going to use kind of I statements and pretend I'm Dale. So you're going to do that to the other quad. So you're going to tell their story given the information. Now, sometimes when we tell stories and we miss something or we didn't fully listen as well as we thought we did. And if that's the case, someone just say, ouch, as in, hey, that's not what happened. Let me correct you really quickly. And the other person will say, oops, we'll fix it and kindly move on because we only have 45 seconds to hear 4 people's stories. Again, 30 seconds for those, and maybe have your TA be the timer for the group of 5 or 6 in that event. Let's go ahead and get into it. Let's go ahead and have the person that lives closest to Loyola go first. Figure that out in your quad. And then you're gonna go clockwise. So 45 seconds, tell the life story of your cub brother. You get into it. You'll do that 45 seconds 4 times. If you are starting to run out of time, like this is where I look at my watch and be like, okay, do I have at least 15 minutes? If I have at least 15 minutes, then I'm good. I can skip this next section. If I don't have 15 minutes, I'm running out of time, or if, sorry, if I have more than 15 minutes, like I have 20, 25 minutes, I can go ahead and do this. So stay in your quads. I'd like you to discuss today's quote, blah, blah, blah. Then you can do the debrief. Have everybody sit down, talk about, okay, what was it like telling other people's stories? Did you enjoy it? Was it hard? What did it prompt you to have to do? Right? Ask them those sorts of questions. If they ended up talking about the quote, why do you think we chose that Will Durant quote to start your CY1? What does it have to do with being open to growth? Were there any funny things that happened in your quad storytelling? This is your opportunity as a teacher to dive into what you care about. And again, it's just a debrief to get more voices, practice names. All right, excellent. You made it. We're in our Cub Year 1 first year foundations. Expectations, pretty simple. Be prepared, be productive, and be respectful, keeping these norms, these 6 norms at the bottom in mind. If you're prepared, productive, and respectful, we will have 0 issues this year during our Cub Year 1 experience. The moment that you are unprepared, unproductive, and disrespectful is when we end up having visits to the dean. I truly believe that you understand that this is an opportunity to make a great first impression. So I think we're going to be able to get along just fine. And so one way that I monitor to make sure that you are prepared, productive, and respectful is you'll notice on Canvas, and we talk about that a little bit, that I do a daily class motto grade. I'll give you a 3 out of 3 for your productivity, preparedness, and respect. What might that look like? You have this planner and this pen in front of you. You have your MacBook computer or a laptop computer, and next class, you're going to notice I'm going to ask you to bring a secondary device like a cell phone or an iPad. You're listening to me. Next class, you'll get a preparedness point if you bring all 4 of those materials. When we're in class, I would love to see that you're interacting with your classmates, getting to know them, asking productive questions that's relevant to the curriculum. If you're doing that, you're going to get your productivity point. And then finally, respect. Respect, pretty simple. You respect yourself enough to act with a degree of dignity, of self-dignity. You respect me, your teacher. You respect the property that is Loyola High Schools. We're going to have a great time. If I give you a 2 out of 3, it means one of those 3 things was missing. If I give you a 1 out of 3, that means 2 of those things are missing, and I most likely will contact your parents or guardians. A 0 out of 3 means that something went really wrong, and I'll probably send you to the dean of summer session, and I'll also contact your parent and guardians. Anytime you're absent, you will not receive a grade and it will be excused. So again, how you are in class is just as important as what you do. Excellence, therefore, is a habit. How you are is a habit. And so we really want you to embrace these 3 things. We have this saying, to be C4L, a cub for life, you have to start with CY1. So this is the very beginning of your story. And in that, we love to have those really powerful, amazing beginnings. So let's go ahead and begin with something that's a little anticlimactic, but so important. So you're going to open your planners, page 14 and 15. In front of you have a unique password page. I'd love for you to go ahead and in there, get this unique password, log into Loyola's account via OneLogin. I want you to change a password. I want you to change it to something that you will remember. I'd love for you to write it down, maybe in your planner somewhere, or just have it ready. And we're going to have you practice it multiple times while we wait for the rest of our folks to log in. Once you get into your account, I'd love for you to click on the button that's called Canvas and then close your laptops. That's going to tell me I can move on. This is when your TA can walk around and make sure that students are figuring their stuff out. And then once everyone's laptops lids are mostly down, especially if you have 5 minutes, take the 5 minutes and just go through the things. If you have 10 minutes, then you can go in greater detail. So as I reminded you, you need your CY planner every class. Please remember this for Thursday. You need a fully charged MacBook computer. If you don't have a MacBook yet, just use a laptop, that's fine. You'll need a writing utensil. That's either a pencil or a pen. We provided you a pen today. And for next class, we need you to have a cell phone or secondary device. In terms of your assignments, if you Go ahead and open your planners to page 51. You're gonna notice that it's a blank calendar. I'd like for you to write, this is Tuesday, June 18th. I'd like for you to write down your 3 homework assignments. One assignment is due next class, which is Power School, Genius Scan, and Canvas. We want you to download those apps on your phone. If you don't have a phone, download them on an iPad or secondary advice. Then I would like you to do Canvas 101, that's due Friday. And I'd like you to sign and have your parent or guardian sign your course contract. You'll notice the syllabus is on pages 2 through 9 of your planner. Any late work in CY1 is only accepted through June 28th. Actually, I'm going to fix that on the slide deck, which is that Friday. It's 10% off for each day that it's late. So it's very important. Again, we're talking about first impressions, what's expected. So how did everybody, they have time to write it down? If you're running out of time, just go to the next slide. Say, see you Thursday. Edit this so that it's your email. If you have a little bit more time, I would remind you, exit out and show them what their Canvas page looks like so that they have a good understanding of how to navigate it. So I would say, let's pretend I'm Roberto and I'm in his class. I'm going to go ahead and put it into student view. And just say, hey, this is your landing page. Notice I tell you what to bring to this class. Next class, you're going to need a cell phone. I go over certain things like the syllabus. I also have your homework assignments linked here for you. And then just some pro tips. If I click on this, it's going to take us directly to our module. Our module has the day 1 motto grade, which was based off of today, and the 3 homework assignments that I have listed. I'm going to leave student view for a second. And so again, just give them sort of a taste of what they have to do. If I was them, I would also want to go over what does Canvas 101 look like. You're following the instructions linked, doing a lot of bookmarking, and then following the instructions here linked, doing a lot of bookmarking. And here is a screenshot below for full credit. We want them to change their avatar or profile picture. It needs to be of their face. Nothing else. Then we're also going to go back to modules and really quickly go over that on the course contract. They're going to go to page 10 of their planner, and they're going to go ahead and take a picture of that and upload that. So again, you're just giving them sort of a little bit of a taste of what they have to do, answer any questions. The first day is very busy. There's a lot that you're doing. So again, let me normalize for you. If you don't get through everything, that is okay. What you do need to get through is that name picnic, because names are important. You need to try at least to get through the dyads and maybe that first quad section to get them starting to talk to each other. And then you need to make sure that they get logged into their Canvas account minimally so that they have an understanding of what their homework is. And that is day 1.